Good evening. Back with another video. So I don't usually plan my stuff ahead, or at least I don't script things. Um, Honestly, it makes me more anxious to record when I do. Um, I again have something playing in the background. That is another. That's another thing. So I wanted to use this as a practice to get more comfortable talking about myself. Um, because not that it's a new thing to realize, but I realize I don't really have the skill to do that, to just like talk about myself. Because I'm so used to not doing that. um, so I go by Nikki or Nick. Um, but my name is actually it's Nigerian. It's Nsikok. Easiest way to pronounce it is Inseekok, because that's how you pronounce it. um, I am 24, 23, but turning 24 in March. And that's like the basics. I can get through that part just fine. But it's going into more details. Okay, if I were to explain it, like there are in betweens. It's either I just say so little that it's like, okay, that's a person, right? Or I do because I have so many. I'm never going to allow, maybe, but I'm never really going to allow someone to listen or go through my notes app. You know, girls in their notes app. But there are multitudes, over 200, maybe almost 300 now, since I've had this phone for years. Actually, maybe that feels like it's lowballing it. Honestly, it could be close to like 500, in between 200 to 1,000 notes, and majority of them are voice notes, which can last upwards to an hour to two. Actually, I might have one that's like almost 3 hours of me talking. There are differences whenever I'm like, I'm gonna call it kiting. When I I don't even realize how long I'll be talking. It will be like jumping from thing to thing. And it's really funny because if you know me but don't know me well, then you would think that I don't really talk. Like I barely talk. But if you know me and know me well, I talk so goddamn much. That used to be one of the things that was on my report cards. It would be like, it's one of the comments from the teacher. Like, I would always be striving to be a straight A student, but I was like, okay, so the school I originally went to, was a charter school, and they went by numbers. They went 1 through 4. I was like a consistent 3 student, but I wanted to be a 4 student. Was not good enough to be a 4. Not good enough of a student to be a 4. Um, but I used to try so hard to be like the number one student. And every single time my comments would come back, which I stopped showing my mom my report cards really early, but one of the because they would still have like parent teacher meetings, which were usually around the holidays. Because that was like the only time that my parents actually came in for things. Um but I the comments that were on my report card was always just like, is a great student, could talk less though. It was consistent. It was consistently there that I would talk a lot, which is so funny because every single time at the parent teacher meetings, my mom would always be surprised is because I don't talk a lot. Like at home, I was kind of a recluse in a way. But like it's also funny, but like not haha funny. It's like it's strange. Yeah, I was kind of like a recluse at home. I didn't really talk much. Um, when I did, it was like joking one-liners during movies and stuff. I also like would read a lot and be in the backyard and just read because I liked being surrounded by nature while reading. Um, it was like I barely talked at home, but I say it's funny comparatively because it was also like this thing about me being shy, which even now, when I was introduced to my other sister, I have two sisters, my older sister's partner's friend, um, and even him the first time, because I didn't like I like feel people out on first meeting them and like I test them. I test them. Um, so like when meeting his friend, um, I was introduced as shy, and I was like, no, I'm not shy. And then later, because I was talking a lot and asking a lot of questions and like engaging in conversations, um, some of the people were like shy. I was like, yeah, because I'm not shy. I'm not a shy. I talk a lot, and when I'm around people who I feel comfortable with, and like even if I'm not even in a conversation, if like a deep conversation is being started, I'm gonna be in it. I'm gonna be in it. Um, I was suffer in freshman year, but then again, that teacher was kind of a pick me. I was always, honestly, the English teacher's favorite student, because even when I wasn't paying attention or didn't even read the book, which I stopped reading books in eighth grade, I did. I switched over to reading comics and webtoons, and then I stopped doing that too. So, I do read, kind of. I like do research, and for the most part, I write. So I read my writing, which probably isn't the best feedback loop. Almost always the English teacher's favorite, because every single time it came to a question about the book or it was getting people to like think deeply about like a subject the teacher's trying to reach. um, okay, I gotta say, I wasn't trying. I was so out of it freshman and sophomore year. Freshman year, I was trying to adjust to being in a completely different atmosphere because I went from being in a charter school that was filled with mostly Latinos and Africans to being in a PWI. Like, honestly, I didn't really think that white people existed until high school. I knew that they did, but I didn't know that they were like the predominant people until I really got like integrated in high school. So I didn't really try freshman year. I didn't. Well, no, I did try freshman year, but I was just like, yeah, I need to like stand out and prove my personality first, establish myself as a person first. Um, and then sophomore year, I was like playing catch up with like focusing on school actually. So I also didn't really pay attention in English class in that one. And that year, I had one of the hard ass teachers, but he was like literally the teacher that everybody complained about. And then he retired the year after. The year after. Like stopped working there. I was like, wow. So I really just had to be the last generation. Love that. Um, that was honestly also a constant thing that happened in my life. It would be like the year after I leave something, that's when people do changes. Wow. um, but yeah, I didn't really try freshman year, sophomore year. I also did the play those years, so I kind of got away with not trying. Um, And then junior year was when I was really hit with depression. So I kind of just like gave up. The first time everything wasn't like coming easily to me. I took AP statistics in my junior year. And I wanted to take it my sophomore year. That's a whole other thing. But I was taking AP statistics. I felt like an idiot because everybody else there was younger than me, except for the two people there who were seniors. Um, and I also was an avid, and I hated the fuck out of avid. I hated it so much. It was like ooh, it made me want to turn my skin inside out. Just ooh, hated avid. But yeah, I was almost always my English teacher's favorite because like, in a way, I would be leading the class. So every single time I didn't pay attention, every single time I didn't pay attention, the class kind of did go off the rails. But like at the same time, I was like, I don't, I just, I'm gonna understand it because I would literally wait till the class to start one doing work, two reading the book that was required. I hated reading things that were required for class outside of class. Like, I could not, my brain just stalled trying to read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Um, which is funny because I did a whole, not a, it wasn't a dissect, but I did the whole thing about me complaining about Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. I still haven't finished it. Still haven't finished it. It's a whole new year. Still haven't finished it. I got like a little over a third through the movie. I'm just bored. Like honestly, that I felt the same way about the book too. Like I did read it here and there. It was like a historical fiction or something like that. Uh, I don't remember the name of the book, but I think the main character was Muslim. I like those kind of books. Not even necessarily historical fiction, even though, like, if you go through my reading history, if I were to able to find a lot of the books that I read when I was younger, um, part of them would be fantasy, a very small part. Honestly, a lot of them would be like mystery rather than fantasy. A lot of them would be like mystery adventure, which is like more my cup of tea. Um, and then part of them would be historical text, whether that be historical fiction or nonfiction. Like, honestly, this is before I had to read it for class. I think it was a year or two before I read, I forget what his name was. Was it like Ishmael or something like that? I don't know. I read that book. Um, it was like an autobiography from a child soldier. Um, I read that quite young. We were supposed to read it in eighth grade. I think I read it either in sixth or fifth. But like a lot of my history, my reading history, a lot of the times where I get like sucked into, oh my eye hurts. I get sucked into a book. It usually has to do with history. Um, I also really like period dramas. That is one of my favorite types of media, period dramas, which is funny because I've never, and I don't think I'm ever going to get into Bridgerton. I don't think I'm gonna watch it. I'm okay with seeing that from afar, but like, it's not just necessarily period dramas, it has to be non Western, like non European in a way. Like, I love K dramas. Yeah, I got really into K dramas when I was younger. Um, C dramas. Spe- like, for me, it was specifically period C dramas that I really got into. Just because the fashion is just so beautiful. Just, yeah, it's just so pretty, so flowy. Um, I honestly didn't even know. This is probably like ignorance on my part, but I the funny thing is I got into anime really young. First animes which I have like taken so much of my personality from that I watched was Princess Tutu. I don't remember exactly what the first one I watched was, but the ones I was watching at the time were around the same time, so it's like I don't know which one came first. It was Princess Tutu, Full Metal Alchemist, not Brotherhood. Still have not seen Brotherhood. Most likely will never see Brotherhood. Um, I don't think I could go through Hugh's death again. I can't do that to myself. I can't do that to myself. I love him too much. Um, and Sergeant Frog. All three of those were around the same time I was watching them. So, Princess Tutu is my number one all-time favorite anime, honestly piece of media um that I have indulged in, and I feel like that says a lot about my personality. I forget that this was literally supposed to be me talking about myself, so here you go. One little giant tidbit is I fucking love Princess Tutu. Um, it just it speaks to me because like it's so sweet but also dark. Yeah. It's like pretty and dark. It has so much feeling, and you can feel the effort that goes into it. And it does feel childish, but it also deals with some really really deep things. Like it has depth. um, it's like what can you do? You yourself as a storybook character, you are written by someone else. But like is your life still life if it's written by someone else who like are all your things predetermined? Is fate actually predetermined? Anyway, I love the show. When I was younger, I really resonated with Duck. um, because honestly, felt so much like her. Very clumsy, but tried so hard. Not entirely engaged in class, um, but just wanting the best for people. I, if put in the same situation as her, that I wouldn't do the same. Seeing a person who doesn't have a heart, and like getting every part of emotion, even like hatred and like sadness, those things are also part of your heart, and those are emotions that you need to have in order to be complete as a person. um like even him battling corruption is a toil of the heart, and it's something that he has to overcome himself. That's a huge part of it. I could like You could give him back his heart, but at the end of the day, he's the one who has to deal with it himself and come out a stronger person. But as I rewatched it, I haven't finished rewatching it. I'm actually pretty close to the end. I have gotten better at not binge watching stuff. I used to binge watch anime all the time, but like I like come back periodically, watch a couple episodes, don't watch it for like a couple days to a months. um, and then so I'm like on the last 6 episodes. Um, and now that I've gotten older, like I also already loved Fakir. He was crush number one. Yeah. And he is also who I modeled my crushes after. A little bit mean, very big heart. Very big heart. Just so misunderstood. But as I've gotten older, like I understand him even more. I'm like, damn, actually, I feel like I've kind of turned into more of a fakir than being a duck. A while back, I had like started trying, because I like trying to see whether I like animes back from when I first started watching animes, like that era, the early 2000s and stuff, when it started like actually popping off. Um, because Princess Tutu was made in either 2002 or 2001. Um, and I really like that aesthetic of anime. That's also, it's when they started doing the big eyes, but it wasn't getting to the point, first of all, where we are now, but second of all, where it's just like the big eyes, giant spacing between them, tiny ass noses, like the eyes make up most of the face. It wasn't yet at that point where they were doing anime like that. But oh gosh, I went back and watched a show that I started watching but was told to take it off because one, its name, two, its material, but it was literally it it it, it was completely fine. But growing up in a Nigerian Christian household, anything that's loosely tied to rich witchcraft and demons and magic is a no-no. So I went back and watched XXX Holic. Love that show. Loved it so much. Watanuki is he's such a boy failure. I love it. Oh, and the fact that he's a March Aries too, it's just like it makes so much sense. Cause yeah, As a March Aries myself, born literally on the first day of March Aries, I, it just all I could say is, yeah, we are kind of a little bit of a failure, trying so hard to be cool. Uh, and I forget what Domeki, Domeki. I love their dynamic. My watch history says a lot about me as well. Um, like even from the animes that I listed, Princess Tutu, Full Metal Alchemist, Sergeant Frog, XXX Holic. Like, what does that say about me? Funny humor. Um, like such lame slapstick humor. Dark themes, but light enough where it's taken seriously, but still hopeful, I guess is the best way to say it. And these things are these things are huge to the people who can do stuff about it, and to the average person they wouldn't know about it at all. The average person wouldn't know. These people are special. I don't know how I didn't think that they would like have their own stuff. Like this is originally a point that I started talking about and like didn't return to until now, but I didn't know that I didn't know that I could watch J dramas. Like there were stuff with real people. I only knew about anime. Only knew about anime and like cuz I didn't really get into Japan like that. Yeah. So I just which is another thing that I'm just like I don't like some of the stereotypes that follow around like anime watchers because with all things it's like that's not all people who watch anime, you know, and people who love anime. Um, like I am not a Japan glazer at all. Honestly, don't even want to go. Don't even want to go. Um, I do like their streetwear style. And I love Gyaru style. Um, all subcultures under Gyaru as well. Um, but I don't like the common person outfit. Just regular people. I don't like it. It's so boring and oh sorry, this is gonna be ooh because it was on my mind for so long. I sometimes periodically watch Sea Dog VA. Found him years ago. Years ago. Happened upon one of his videos. And like periodically I do watch Connor. And no hate, no hate, but a little tad bit. I watched the one video where he was like getting styled by this pretty well known designer and stuff, or at least a designer that he was collabing with. That man could have styled for shit. Even his own outfit. I don't know. I just nothing was clicking for me. And when he was styling Connor, I was getting angry because nothing was flattering. Nothing was flattering. When Connor himself picked out these really cool looking jeans, and he was just like, and you wanted to put him in an outfit in that like that. Um, I was just like, those jeans. First of all, so fucking cool. They were really nice jeans. just not how I would have done it. Not how I would have done it. Like, you have when styling someone as pale as him, you have to take into account a lot of things. When styling anyone, you have to take into account a lot of things: their stature, their body shape, um, uh, like their proportions, yeah, the color of their skin, the undertones of their skin, the color of their hair. Like, that's the whole reason why there was like this uptick in, like, what was it, 2023, 2024, of people getting their, like, finding out what season their 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 colors were, and it just, whoo, every outfit he put him in, I was just like, this is so close. Oh, you're so close to being good. Bad. It's bad. It isn't. It just isn't. It's bad. It's bad. It's awful. It's an awful outfit. And this isn't me being a hater. This is me just saying you're not doing. It's not. It's not doing him any favors. You know. Yeah, and even the guy himself. Again, this is easy for me to be vague because I don't remember anybody's name. I'm really bad at names. That's another thing. That's another fact you could learn about me. Really bad at names. I have to know what the name looks like in order to remember it. I could imagine it being written and what it would look like on paper, even if it's not um, even if it's not spelled the way that I think it's spelled. I would still have like an image of the name and I would remember it. But for most people, either I don't initially catch their name or I'm not given enough time to like really soak it in. Um, don't remember people's names well. But I do remember faces pretty easily. Um, so back to what I was talking about. Even the guy himself's outfit. Later in the video, he takes off the suit jacket, and I'm like, oh, that vest and those pants are really, really nice. You just ruined it with a fucking suit jacket. And I know that those kind of jackets can be worn regularly and like in a semi-business way, but I just who I just don't like it. So I feel like y'all have learned so much about me without me actually saying like, oh, this is a fact, this is a fact, this is a fact. Um, really like fashion. Really like fashion. I love anything that has to do with history, honestly. I'm a big history buff, just not in the way where it's like easy to be verified, you know? I'm very vague. I'm not, again, it's similar to to names. I'm not good with dates either. I'm like, this happened sometime in the past. Sometime in the past, which is also funny because, um, so this is a big one. Talking about myself, I'm sure in previous ones I've also already talked about uh somewhat about a book that I'm writing, but so there's this main romance that I'm writing. It's called Nothing Between Us. Um, Again, this was loosely tied to the semi quasi semi autobiographical um telling of my life. It has elements from my life, and also the female main character is named after me because it's so much easier to write it that way. That was literally the best way that I could do it because I was just like having to think of names, and I'm like, she's so based on me. This is a self insert. This is so much of a self insert. It's easier to just put my name. So, um, but yeah, very loosely um, autobiographical. But in the there are some things that are hinted at in the book, and I want to finish that one so that I could also write the other series, other books in to build out the world. There's one that I already have in the works. I haven't written it in a while, but it's called In Their Skin. But anyway, a lot of them are like historical texts. The other books are going to be like literally history in the world. Like these are events that have happened in Nothing Between Us's world. There's this one that's set in the Wild West. There are other things in history that like led to it, and one of them is it's actually related to my main character's side of the family. Like honestly, it's quite literally her great grandmother is the one who set off this one, and it's like very loosely the story of the Ice Queen, and a mixture of Ice Queen stuff and like some Yuki-onna stuff, mythology stuff. Hags. Uh, they are based off of characters I played. Okay, so another thing about me, I also love otome games. Um, I love visual novels and stuff like that. I played the Arcana, and my main character's name was Virkus, 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 and I just turned that into their last name. But yeah, they're hags, and I was like, I want to make them related to Baba Yaga, but like Baba Yaga being their like aunt or something. Um, and like they have their own little chicken house that travels between realms, so they like are realm hoppers and stuff like that. Um, it would be like I think their gimmick was like you have to have a question in your heart, something that needs solving in your heart, and then open a door, and it will lead you to their shop if it's something that they could help with. So that's another thing that like ties each of the history stories together. Um, each one of them, the main character has something that they deeply desire and like go through a door and they end up in the Virkus sister's shop. Um, but inside one of the stories, it's actually also the male main character's great grandfather. And it shows how important to their survival he was. And like the whole thing, I mean, it's going to be explained in the book if I ever get to writing it. But the whole thing is that, which is also hinted at inside Nothing Between Us. You don't get the full history, but like the whole thing is that he was already quite an important like person. He was a professor. And he had his own class of like vampire students. Also, the way that vampires work is very different. The thing is, in I explain it away as in like, oh, all these things that are said about the supernatural beings are really just stories that had become very twisted into tales to fear them. But for the most part, a lot of them are harmless. There are ones that are doing it with the intention of harm, like which is shown inside In Their Skin. Like that one is verified. Because that one's just doing it for the love of the game, honestly. Um, but for a lot of it is just like you guys don't understand this was self defense. Um anyway, so to show that the male main character's great grandfather, he was a teacher. Um like very community driven, great guy, honestly. Very stand up guy. Had two sons. Um and his thing was that his power, which is why it I'm just gonna spoil shit, which is it's the reason why it's it took so long for the male main character to come into his power, because it was so strong, and honestly if it had come earlier probably would have killed him. But um the power to create realms, like obviously his grandfather couldn't do it himself, which is why he had students. He had like, is the word accolades? Anyway, he had students who like he taught, um kind of like prophets and stuff like that. Disciples, there we go. He had disciples that he taught, and he was like building out this realm because like the news was getting like real serious about how tense it was in between humans and supernaturals. And honestly, because vampires, one, stick out, but two, were already so integrated with the society, they would be like one of the first and easiest targets. um so yeah, he was on his way developing, which is he talks to the he's actually pretty close to the Verka sisters, and they were the ones who helped him like understand realms on a scientific level so that he could do this thing. um and like he teaches his students, and when the hunt begins, he's the one who has them open up the portal. Like he is the one who is strong enough to like keep it in place, meaning he had to stay behind so that all these people could escape when the hunt. So I kind of like took a break in recording, and I have no clue what I was talking about anymore. So I think I'm just gonna end this video out and say this was about me. As you can see, it's a much longer video, and this goes straight back to what I was saying in the beginning, which is there's no in between. It's either I talk 4 hours about myself or about like my interests and go off, or I say like two, three things and I don't know how to fill the space. No in between. Anyway, good night if you're watching this at night. Um, but like I'm recording this at night, so it's like a good night from my end. And hope you have a great time, great rest of your day, great life.